YouTube! We back on the ghetto tripod, shooting some deck profiles for you guys. And guess what? I'm bringing the same shit to show and tell as always. I'm bringing Blue Eyes. Oh man, I've just been like on a tear with Blue Eyes, guys. Like this year is the year of like anime decks. A couple months back, we got like some hero support, so that was a lot of fun. And then Blue Eyes support, which was like exceptional. You guys know how it is. Strong like mid-range style deck with like a lot of slots for non-engine. Love me some hand traps. So yesterday I actually took out to locals and I got top four. Won some Alliance Insights packs. A Blue Eyes PRIMITE MAGIA build. It's a 43 card main. Okay, 43 cards and it's quite consistent. So I try to keep it as optimized as possible to play as closely to what we've seen work with, a lot of like the pure Blue Eyes PRIMITE builds for the competitive scene. So recently I did take ninth place with a Blue Eyes PRIMITE deck. So I basically took that framework and just applied some very, very minor tweaks to still keep the competitiveness of the build while still allowing us to play the bad boy himself, Dragon Master Magia. So very excited for this one. Yeah, I still felt like it was very consistent, very competitive, and I'll go through like how to actually optimally play the Magia deck so that way, you're able to add a little bit of spice and flavor to your end board while still staying competitive against the top competing decks. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Right out the get-go, we got the 3 Sages, 2 Alties, 1 Platinum Seeker. I actually sided one out, so that's why there's the mismatch, because one does come out if I am going second, just because you're siding a lot of Mulcharmies going second. We do play 8 Mulcharmies in this build, in the main and the side combined. So it's an easy way to like remember what to side out. Nice little pro tip there. You got the Maiden, and then some more level 1 tuners. I just played the 1 Veiler. This is probably the most garbage card in the deck, but it's technically an engine requirement because a lot of times you can just add it for free off of your combo. 3 is 2 or 3. Like there's a world where you play 2, but 3 is, I think, in my opinion, in this format is excessive. Just because if you're playing 3, you're definitely gonna open one or potentially like, be able to search 2 if you open up throughout the combo, which is okay. But then you're limiting yourself from actually playing to the theory that like you should potentially always add 1 form of crackback in your hand. Besides, like if you have 2 Veilers, it's not really that high impact against like Malice or like Mitsurugi, for example. And then you got the 2 Blue Eyes, the 2 Vanillas, the mandatory bricks. For Blue Eyes, spells and traps, we did do the 2 Wishes, Ultimate Fusion, Roar, Mausoleum, and the True Light. I know I was always advocated for 3 for Wishes. I don't know. Like, you're going to see that I actually figured out a way to be able to add some draw power to the deck. So I figured 2 was probably fine. I also found that, like, you have Sage or Maiden, you get access to this anyways, and then it makes the second copy in your hand irrelevant. So, yeah, that's the reason. I also needed to fit a second Drill Beam, which definitely came up yesterday that I didn't necessarily play, but I did add it back in. So, in theory, yesterday I actually did play the 3, but only played 1 Drill Beam. But in hindsight, it's very incorrect because there's a lot of game states where you get into, you're literally just kind of like playing PRIMITE Control with hand traps, and you do want to have that second Drill Beam to be able to have one set, but then also keep the other one as a board breaker. You guys will also notice that there is no Majesty of Blue Eyes in this. So Majesty was like sort of missed yesterday. I won't deny it, but you've replaced it with Ultimate Fusion, which is very interesting because you actually need this card. This is an engine requirement for the Magia build. And I just didn't want to necessarily go beyond the scope of framework that I was working with in terms of like deck count. Like I didn't want to go over like 44 or 45. I feel like the ratios just get a little bit weird at that point. But this kind of allows you to still have that Majesty pop should you fuse off a Blue Eyes from the field into the deck. It did come up yesterday that like fusing off my one Blue Eyes that I had in rotation just to have a pop that I really needed did kind of set me back. I still won the game, but yeah, something to consider is like Majesty empirically is a better spot removal, but this one is a lot more generic and fills a lot of different functions and roles within the deck. So this is the card that actually brings out Magia to the board, which is usually a game-winning condition. And you can also use this to pop as well. Yeah, it's kind of a hefty cost by shuffling back your Blue Eyes from the field. And it only pops actually face up. It doesn't pop any face downs. But we're also in the extra deck playing the Lightstorm Dragon, so I figured, you could still use that to have some back row removal for face downs. It also came up as well that because this thing actually pops on resolution, in one of my Malice matchups, I put them on a half board and they ended up linking as an end board piece into the Bomber Dragon. And so what I was able to do is they went chain March here to potentially summon the body under the Bomber Dragon to basically clear my Maiden and Blue Eyes. I chained this and fused off my Blue Eyes and another Blue Eyes in hand for Tyrant on resolution, popping the Bomber Dragon. Therefore, he missed timing to be able to clear my board. So yeah, that was a pretty cool play. And then I was able to actually use True Light to bring back the Blue Eyes that... through Roar to bring back another Blue Eyes out and then be able to get the Maiden back onto the field. So it could also actually be used as a board breaker as well. So yeah, really interesting card. You need to be knowing how to use this effectively. You have to be a lot careful, I find, with this one, just to resolve that pop effect. But you kind of do need it because you are playing Magia in the extra and you want to be able to have access to Magia. So this was kind of, so Majesty was taken out for this, essentially. Yeah, so that's enough about that one. And we'll go into the PRIMITE engine. We've got the 3 Ether Barrels, 3 loads. I did play the 1 yesterday, but I did miss the second drum, so I'm adding it back in. And I kind of explained why that's important. Cool, now for like the spice. Some guy was heckling me online. He's saying, oh, this is like a known engine. I didn't know about it. I saw maybe like one list online of like some guy winning like an OTS championship in like Latin America, and I took inspiration, just made it my own. So we're playing a Magician's Soul package. It's only 4 cards. I wouldn't say the Magician's Souls are actually bricks. The Illusion of Chaos absolutely is a pretty bad brick, especially if you open it with the Magician's Souls. It kind of makes both cards dead. But the good news is you can actually send the Illusion of Chaos to the graveyard with Wishes. And then the Magician's Souls are not bad normal summons or special summons to be able to go into your Link 1 as well. And I'll go into the theory of why this is actually a really, really good small engine to add in before we get into the non-engine. But yeah, that's kind of like the last piece of engine that you're running. Let's say in theory you actually open up a load and then your Magician's Souls. So not only is this, like, in theory, you want to have the Magician's Souls to be able to dump for cost the Illusion of Chaos to have it as material in the grave for Magia on your opponent's turn. So the only time you're actually summoning Magia is on your opponent's turn. And that way it actually helps you insulate through Nib. Like, the addition of this package, the Illusion of Chaos and the Magician's Soul, only adds 1 extra summon into your combo, playing slightly into more Nibiru. And even if they nib your Spirit off, you can usually recur it back and then still summon Magia on your opponent's turn. But getting Magia out on your opponent's turn is quite crucial, so that way it's not something that's like, impeding the rest of your board against, Nibiru. But even then, if you do decide to make the Magia on your own turn, it does insulate you from Nibiru, but I think it's quite hard to get it out within 5 summons personally from testing. So yeah, anyways, let's say like you open this And this, you're right, like this isn't access to Magia, but this actually becomes a really, really cool extender within the Primite engine. So it actually very much complements your Primite engine. So you're gonna go load, load effect. You're gonna add, of course, the ether barrel. You're gonna normal the ether, and you will set your drill beam. Hopefully, you wouldn't have gotten interrupted. What you're going to do now is you're going to send the Illusion of Chaos to the graveyard for cost. So we'll leave that to the side here. And then you'll be able to actually get your Magician's Souls onto the field. And this sends for cost. So even if they try to like ash your Magician's Souls, and you guys see what I'm about to do here, like it's kind of straightforward. We've already have our material for Magia in the graveyard. So this has actually already served its purpose. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to effect. You're going to sack both your load and your drill beam to the graveyard because you have ether on the field anyways to recur back the drill beam anyways. Because load is, it's nice to have on the field, but I don't think it's like an absolute must as an end board piece for Blue Eyes, to be honest. So here they're forced to ash. This is a pot of greed at this point, right? We're going to draw 2 cards. And essentially what you've done here is you've insulated yourself from ash because this is a forced interruption, right? They're going to have to ash you here, meaning that if you're going to go wishes later on the combo line, you're probably good to go. Let's say they did ash, right? That's totally cool because there's even more purpose that the Magician's Souls actually serves. What you're going to be able to do is you're going to go effect. Oh, sorry, you're going to reset your drill beam first. Let's not forget that step. So that's the drill beam. You can actually now go effect of the ether barrel, therefore like maximizing how much of your valid effects you have at your disposal every turn. And you're going to dump an additional Blue Eyes basically for free, like de-bricking your deck, allowing you to also potentially like, not see it on like turn 3. And then also gets a majority of your Blue Eyes in rotations because, let's say you do have access to this, but no ultimate dragon access, which we will get into later on. It's easier to spin back a Blue Eyes from the field to get that pop to summon out like Tyrant Dragon or whatever than it is to just have one in rotation. Then you're kind of stuck without any Blue Eyes as a rotation, which is trouble. So yeah, we dumped the Blue Eyes off the ether, and now you can actually just link this off into your link 1. And then you go effect, you add the Mausoleum, right? Really, really cool stuff. And it also, so it does 3 things, right? It allows you to establish a Magia line. It opens up an avenue for you to actually use this effect in combo, so you don't have to use this as a link 1 if you have like also a Sage in hand. It is also bait. It's definitely ash bait. It's a pot of greed as well for the deck. So it's quite sophisticated and does a lot of things. Now, I do side it out going second. Like, there is a consideration that you run Anima in the side deck, and it allows you for, like, an easy access into SP to further break boards. And maybe, like, steal a Nibiru token or, like, steal some kind of body onto the field. I didn't play that just because I felt like the 4 cards, like the 3 Souls and the Illusion of Chaos, they just wouldn't make the cut post side if I knew I was going second against, say, like a deck like Malice. Because seeing like these 2 cards in your hand when you're going up against a high impact deck that's like super fast and relevant, such as Malice, these cards are not doing anything for you against the Malice matchup, unfortunately. So yeah, I do side the engine out going second, depending on the deck. Awesome. What else we got? All right, so now that was like a little bit of mini of the combo. Oh, there's another consideration as well with the Magician's Souls. Let's say you have Magician's Souls as well as a Sage. Here's another aspect of Magician's Soul. You're going to go to normal effect. You will absolutely be adding the Maiden. What you will do here is you're going to link off your Sage and go for your Spirit. You'll go effect of the link 1, and you're going to add the Mausoleum, of course. You'll activate the Mausoleum, effect target, send the Blue Eyes to the graveyard. You can't summon the Magician's Souls right now because you're locked into dragons, but that's fine because you can just pitch the Maiden. and have your True Light. And then you're going to go effect, really standard stuff, and just bring back your Blue Eyes and Maiden. Here, and yes, I do understand that this plays into Nibiru, but it's okay. You're going to go effect. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your 5th summon. So yeah, it does play into Nibiru, but it's a nice check into Nibiru, and it at least establishes the line for Illusion of Chaos as such. So now they're actually forced to Nibiru here, because if they haven't ashed already, you're kind of checking for Ash and Nib simultaneously, right? This is why this is very strong. So if they don't do anything here, you essentially just got your check for Nibiru and your Ash. So you're going to go actually effect, sack off the Mausoleum, because you already have one in rotation, and you have access to True Light, which is going to get you access into Roar, which will get you access, maybe even Wishes, that gets you access to Roar. So your 2 Blue Eyes are going to be in rotation anyways. You no longer will actually require Mausoleum for anything at all whatsoever. So you're going to get a free draw. You'll get a free draw. And that's why I'm so excited about this deck, because for the longest, for this like, additional engine that I play, the Magician's Souls, because for the longest time, like I was playing the Fiendsmith variant with Primite and Blue Eyes, just because I like the interaction that Necrocrypt gave us an additional draw to draw into non-engine. But now, I don't have to feel like I'm sacrificing extra deck space because I have to play Fiendsmith, but I can still play a lot of good extra deck monsters by just having like a 4-card engine in my, my deck that is literally also complementing my main lines of play. It can actually get me even more draws if I open the Primite engine, which is really, really nice. And even if it gets stopped, if the draws get stopped, at least there's access into Magia, which is a game-winning condition, as we established. So yeah, we drew a card. Here, I would probably just keep the thing on board, and the way you actually get into the Magia is you can go True Light, Wishes, send the extra card, or like a brick that you have. You'll add like typical stuff. Here I would actually add the Veiler as well as the Ultimate Fusion. So if they Nibiru your Spirit here, this is totally okay, because we not only have at this point 3 to 4 extra cards in our hand to potentially get Blue Eyes onto the field, and be able to still get to, like, I don't know, if you have Primite access, you get into like another, you can get into Seals, or even like if you wanted to, you can normal summon again a second time, but like that's fine. I find myself, I don't really need 2 normal summons, because we're landing on Magia anyways. So like, yeah, there's some drawbacks here and there to the competitive build of like Blue Eyes Primite Pure that we know and love, but this is like a nice additional layer of consideration for you guys during deck building. So yeah, you add these, and then you just, you make your Spirit. Oh, sorry, before that, you banish your Wishes, target your Blue Eyes, and then you are playing the Ultimate Dragon, unfortunately, which is another drawback to the Magia build. And then what you're going to do here is, it's easy. You just link these off. Sorry, synchro these off into your Spirit. You'll set your Ultimate Fusion, pass back. Ultimate Fusion then will spin back the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, as well as 1 Chaos Monster. So that's your illusion, and you'll be able to get the Magia out on board. Really, really cool. I really like it. Came up a few times. I did Magia a couple of people, which is really fun. So yeah, that's that. Now we'll get into some non-engine. Almost at 20 minutes. That's fine. We're going to wrap it up very soon. Non-engine, really standard stuff. Just hand traps, Droll, Imperm, Ash Blossom. She never really leaves the deck ever, just because you want to use it defensively and offensively. I did 2 Perulia and 2 Fuvalos. I find Fua isn't actually great against all the matchups. Let's say you go up against Regenesis. This is not doing anything. So you actually want to have that nice variance. And we are playing 43, so 4 is a better Molcharmy count than 3 Fua, for example, in the main. Nice. And then last but not least, we also do have 2 nib, because I don't want to brick on too many, and then 1 mag, just to have additional efficiency into the PRIMITE engine, because you could add Ether Barrel. Nice. Let's go into the side. So we do have some Go First cards. Call by Talents. 2 Dragon's Mind, because you can pitch it off Wishes and then reset it. So that way Wishes resolves cost free. And then a PRIMITE Scream. That's also one of the reasons why I went and added in a Drill Beam again. A second Drill Beam, because I wanted to play that mind game of like, if I had Ether Load, I can have access to 2 different Spell or Trap PRIMITE Interruptions, which is really broken. If this catches a normal or special summon that's inherent, you can just negate the summon and banish the card. Against Malice, this permanently banishes one of their Link 3s, and they'll never be able to get it back. There's also a consideration. I didn't play this yesterday, but like you can cut like the 2 Lightning Storms that I'm about to show for some Floodgate cards, and then also Thrust package. So you would cut like the 2 Dragon's Mind for the 2 traps, and then you cut 2 Storms and keep a Duster for the 2 Thrusts. Because we also do play the back row hate, came up against Malice, is really nice. And then finally we got some Malice Tax, 3 Lancia, 3 Meowls, and then the odd Fuvalos is in there as well for a total of 8 Mulch Armies. Cool. Yeah, Gnomes is good for anything Ryzeal or Mitsurugi, and then Symbol is good for like Link-based decks such as Malice. Finally, we got the extra deck. So we did do the 2 Link ones. You have to play at least 2. 1 Seal's fine. Didn't really miss the second. Well, cool thing about this too is you can actually spin this back for using Ultimate Fusion to bring out your Tyrant if you don't have Magia access. You just return this from the graveyard if you resolved it back to the extra. I did play Alina, an SP. That's it for links. No explanation needed. Lightstone for back row. 2 Spirits. Ultimateness. I brought this guy back. It comes up a lot where like you need to make a swift attack to do like to deal lethal, because you can do this under Nibiru as well, which is really nice, especially against Malice. Like let's say you establish Tyrant and Spirit under 5 summons. This comes out in battle. It usually punches for game, and because they usually have taken some damage because of their engine. I did play 2 Tyrants last night, but I cut 1 for the profiles because 2 just did not come up at all. I did play the Neo. In case you don't have Magia access, you go for this to have an additional form of interruption. But if you do have Magia access, you're going to do the standard Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, which is a drawback, I know, because you're running 2 of these that you don't actually ever summon. You're just kind of part of combo. And then, of course, the Magia with the Typhon as well as the last card, which is the only XCs. The cool thing about this is, as well, is if this face-up card and its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster or 1 Chaos or Blacklisted Solar Ritual monster from your extra deck or GY. So this is actually really busted because you could potentially I don't know. Can this bring this out? Or like bring this out? You guys let me know in the comment section. I feel like it does. Yeah, I don't see why not. Can you even potentially get a Tyrant out? No, I don't think actually Tyrant is legal. I believe with Tyrant, he must be Fusion Summon, but you can definitely bring out the yeah, I actually bring out probably Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon because it's like nothing. Yeah, I could probably bring this out. You can bring this out, which is actually quite cool. Yeah, that's actually not bad. You can summon these. I wouldn't see the point of bringing this out now that I think about it, because bringing this out will only give you the graveyard negate, unless I guess you need it in the game state that you're in. It won't allow you to actually tag this out for another monster because it wasn't properly synchro summoned. That's how I'm reading it. Let me know in the comment section, guys, if I'm reading this correctly. I think these two are definitely fair game to have as bodies if your Magia leaves the field. This is fair game, but not recommended. You could probably summon this out. Yeah, that's not a bad one either. But because it gives you a negate, but you know, it wasn't properly like synchro summon, and then this can't come out because of its own condition. But yeah, guys, that's it for the Magia PRIMITE Blue Eyes build. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.